Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Dillian Whyte has a huge feat ahead of him this Saturday as he fights Tyson Fury for the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the world. But the thing is this, right? Dillian Whyte's being written off, okay? When you just look at it on paper, even I say Dillian Whyte doesn't stand a chance. The only way he can remotely get close to getting a victory is he has to stay in Tyson Fury's chest, close the distance, force Tyson Fury to get into an exchange. Tyson Fury's not a good inside fight with those long arms. He will try to throw a little short uppercut, but he was able to do that against Deontay Wilder because they're very close in height, and Deontay Wilder's chin is right there. With Dillian Whyte, he's shorter, so that means that when Tyson Fury has his guard up, he can't just shoot the uppercut from right there and land on Wilder's chin. He got to drop the arm down some more to get underneath the chin of Dillian Whyte to let his hand go. The problem is when he does that, he's no longer being able to protect himself, and Whyte can come over with his little short shots, especially that vicious left hook. But the thing is, right, it's more than likely that's not going to happen. Dillian Whyte, I just don't see him getting the opportunity to land on Tyson Fury. I think he's going to make it hard. I think he's going to make it competitive, but it's not going to be any more competitive than what Tyson Fury faced with Deontay Wilder. This should be a much easier fight unless Tyson Fury makes it hard. But my thing is this, right? Dillian Whyte, you always hear fighters talk about when they get in front of the big lights, when they have their big moment in boxing, and how sometimes that is very intimidating, makes you very uncomfortable, could create stage fright, can give you butterflies in your stomach. End result is you're not performing to your potential during the fight. A lot of fighters have lost the fight just on the ring walk because they see, you're talking about 5, 10, 15,000. These guys are going to have 94, 98,000. That's the number, unless somebody misspoke. It was 94, somebody said 98. But 98,000 people screaming, more than likely cheering on Tyson Fury. And how is that going to affect Whyte on his way to the ring? How's it going to affect his psyche? So the thing is this, right? Dillian Whyte has all the disadvantages. He's going against the grain. It's almost like no one wants him to win. And even when you look at the odds makers, Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte, Fury to win by KO, TKO, or disqualification, 30-1. Whyte to win by KO, TKO, disqualification, 100-1. So Whyte's definitely the underdog. But Dillian Whyte cannot afford to have a hiccup. And that is something that is a growing concern. He's been quiet, he's remained reticent, he's been kind of subdued. And if he gets into that ring and he can't handle the big moment that he's been waiting for since 2017, really, if he has a hiccup in that fight, it's over. He cannot afford to have a hiccup. And when you think about what's going on with Dillian Whyte, you think about what's going on with Tyson Fury, you think about Usyk and AJ. Those four are the key players right now in the heavyweight division. Deontay Wilder, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he is important, but right now no one knows what direction he's going, okay? But as of right now, as far as the key players, talking about the guys with the belts, man, are fighting for the belts. Tyson Fury, Dillian Whyte, AJ, and Usyk. For Dillian Whyte to have a hiccup and to not perform to his potential and lose, right? Knockout or just outpointed or whatever it is. For him to come and put forward a lackluster effort because of a hiccup, Dillian Whyte, in my opinion, will never, ever get another shot at a title. He's done everything he could to get into this position where he's at now. Knocked down or knocked out almost everybody he fought. Winning when he was supposed to. If he did lose, he came back and rematched and won. But he's not getting any younger. He's getting older. He's got some damage, he's taking some punishment. But after this fight, if for some reason he doesn't win, he'll probably never get another shot at a title. You know, and then for Tyson Fury, he's gonna take his WBC belt, and he's gonna either retire or he's gonna go and take that last fight against either Usyk or AJ if AJ wins. But depending on what happens there, Dillian Whyte's just gonna be getting further and further in the distance, all because he hiccuped and didn't seize the big moment. And from there, I just can't see anybody wanting to give him another opportunity. Not just because of the potential of him hiccuping, because of how he acted leading up to this fight as well. He's kind of created a reputation. He already had a reputation of being a bit stubborn, kind of a rude boy, a bad man, but now he's just seen more like just a cockerhole, someone who's stubborn and ridiculous and, doesn't want to cooperate, doesn't want to make it a win-win situation. And promoters aren't going to want to deal with him. So I just think he cannot afford to have, matter of fact, not even a hiccup, additional hiccups, because to me, him not getting involved to promote the fight, those were hiccups. Him making a big issue about his purse split and stuff. Now, these are things that are contractually agreed to. You can be frustrated, but you signed to the 80-20 split. But still, that's a hiccup. Going out there and ranting and raving and carrying on, that's a hiccup. Being out in Portugal, not returning back to do anything in regards to the fight, that's a hiccup. So he can't afford to have a hiccup in that ring this weekend, because I think if the hiccups just eventually turn to one big ass burp that smells really bad, and no one definitely gonna want to touch him. So we'll see what happens with him. But I mean, look, Dillian Whyte's getting paid $7 million, man. And if he wins, he gets another, $3 to $4 million. It's not bad. But Tyson Fury's getting, 80% of the money, so almost $30 million. That's a lot. And you can understand Dillian Whyte being frustrated, but you hear a lot of fighters talk about it. Even with currently Gervonta Davis and Rolly Romero. Talked about De La Hoya talking about it when he's getting ready to fight Mayweather. How is he going to handle it when he gets under the lights? Is he going to perform, or is he going to fold? You hear Floyd Mayweather talking about it's different when you walk into the ring and you're under those lights. When Floyd Mayweather fought Ortiz, I think just the moment got to Ortiz and he did something stupid and he headbutt Mayweather. And as a result, you could call that a hiccup. And then he came in trying to hug and kiss and make love to Mayweather in the ring, and Mayweather two-pieced him and knocked him out. So I do think that when you get in there and there's that crowd and there's that electricity, a person is either going to rise to the occasion or they're going to hiccup. And Dillian Whyte cannot afford to have a hiccup. And breaking down those purses, for those of you who don't know, Frank Warren won the record bid of $41 million. And this is the thing, Eddie Hearn bid $32 million. So you're talking about almost a $10 million difference in the bidding for that fight. So with Dillian Whyte getting what he's getting at 7.4, it would have probably been half that if Eddie Hearn would have won the fight. If it would have ended up being an 80-20 split. So makes you wonder, right? Eddie Hearn really looking out for his fighters, or is he looking out for himself? But anyway, the way the breakdown is going to happen is Tyson Fury is going to get 29.5, and Dillian Whyte is going to get 7.4 million. These are USD dollars. As far as pounds, 22 million pounds for Fury and 5.5 million pounds for Dillian Whyte. But there's a lot of people out there who are rooting for him, even his adversaries like Anthony Joshua. He actually is rooting for Dillian Whyte, glad to see him getting a career high payday, and just hopes that he seizes the moment and doesn't fold, because it's his first time fighting for a title, and he says he thinks he'll be hungry. And he said this isn't the 10th time fighting for a title, and this is where along the way mistakes can happen. And he's just rooting for him, and says although he hates him, which I think that's a harsh word, he wants to smash him one of these days. He's rooting for him. He's saying go Dillian, go all the way. So let me know what you think. Do you think Dillian Whyte is seasoned enough as a professional fighter to not fold under pressure, to not have a big hiccup going into the fight? I feel he's had multiple hiccups already but just with the poor sportsmanship, the inadequate conduct, and failure to really work together to promote the fight. I understand his frustrations, I really do. I agree with being in Portugal and not wanting to lose 2 days of training, going back and forth from Portugal to England, just for something he felt that wasn't worth it. I kind of understand that. But do something. Do a virtual call, do something. There's just so many different avenues you have to make sure that you have a voice, you promote the fight. A lot of fighters do it, man. Via closed circuit, they get on there and they talk their trash, from behind a camera. And he could have done that. So, like I say, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. I think so far Dillian Whyte has found a way to lose, but he did what he wanted to do. And he's comfortable with that. I just hope the hiccups don't continue when he gets into the ring and he's in front of 94,000 people and he hasn't performed. He has been in front of the big stage with Anthony Joshua before, but this is a bigger deal. That was his first loss. He wasn't going into that fight thinking he's going to lose. He's probably going into that AJ fight thinking he's going to win because he beat him in the amateurs. To this day, Dillian Whyte says, I won one, AJ won one. No, the amateurs don't count, man. You lost. And I think going into this fight, he's been knocked out several times. He's been knocked out a couple times now. And going into this fight, he's just got to play on his mind. Opposed to when he initially fought AJ, he's just thinking, I'm going to go and knock this guy out. He had all the confidence in the world. You can't go into a fight with Tyson Fury in front of a crowd like that and not somewhat be worried like, man, if I get knocked out in front of 94, 98,000 people. He's a mentally strong guy. I don't think that's going to bog him down, but I'm telling you, these things cross your mind. Most people don't always think best case scenario. It's always worst case scenario. And going into a fight like this, I think he's thinking about a little bit of everything, but we just hope he doesn't hiccup, can't afford to do it. A lot of people are rooting for him, but I think when you lay it down all on paper, Tyson Fury by far should be the betting favorite. And if anyone's going to put some money on this fight, I definitely wouldn't put it on Dillian Whyte unless you just like taking risk. But anyway, let me know your 2 cents. Do you really think Dillian Whyte has a chance? I think he does if he gets in Tyson Fury's chest. If not, I just think Tyson Fury picks him apart and eventually breaks him down and gets him out of there. But a referee will stop the fight. But Dillian Whyte may hiccup in the first couple rounds, being uncomfortable, being uneasy, all those lights on, the camera, having people in the crowd, maybe cheering against him. That's hard to deal with. It's hard to block that out. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Shout out to all the veterans. You guys take care. I appreciate your support as always. I'm in the breeze.